All right, let's talk about the UK's AI scene, because some brand new data just dropped and it shows something absolutely historic is happening. It's a boom for sure. But as just see, once you peek behind those big, flashy numbers, things get a lot more interesting. Okay, let's just start with this one number, because it's a jaw dropper. 150x. What is that? Well, that's how much faster the UK's AI sector has grown compared to the rest of the economy since 2022. 150 times. I mean, that's not just growth, that's a sector hitting light speed. It's just staggering. All right, so let's get into it. What does a boom like this actually look like on the ground? First thing you look at is the money, right? Revenue? We're talking a record-breaking £23.9 billion in the last year alone. That's not just a little bump, it's a huge signal of the massive economic value being pumped out. So where's all that cash coming from? From an absolute explosion of new companies. Get this, there are now over 5,800 AI firms in the UK, and that number jumped by 58% in just 1 year. That's the kind of insane pace we're seeing here. And more companies, of course, means more jobs. Real jobs for real people. The sector now employs over 86,000 people. Think about that. The workforce grew by a third. Thousands of highly skilled roles are popping up all over the country. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. You might think this is all about the big tech giants, right? Nope, not at all. The real engine room here is the startup scene. Over 90% of these AI firms are small and medium-sized businesses. This is innovation bubbling up from the ground up, which is just incredible. But, innovation doesn't just happen. It needs fuel, and that fuel is cash, investment. In 2024, a record £2.9 billion poured into these AI companies. That tells you that investors aren't just cautiously optimistic anymore. No, their confidence has been completely reignited. And look, this isn't just some niche tech thing happening in a bubble. The government itself is saying this growth is happening because AI is weaving its way into the fabric of the entire economy. We're talking a fundamental shift here, changing everything from healthcare and finance to manufacturing. So the numbers are they're breathtaking, right? The momentum feels unstoppable. But, and this is a big but, it makes you stop and ask a pretty serious question. Can this actually last? Is this kind of incredible pace really sustainable? Because when you dig just a little deeper, past those amazing headlines, you find that the sector is dealing with some pretty serious growing pains. And when you grow this fast, you inevitably run into some major challenges. And these are challenges you just can't ignore. So what are we talking about? Well, the data points to 3 main pressure points. First, there's a serious skills shortage, not enough talented people to do the work. Second, a funding gap, especially for companies trying to get to that next level. And third, a lot of uncertainty around the rules and regulations. And don't just take my word for it. Here's a quote from Isabella Grandi over at NTT Data that really hits the nail on the head. She's saying that even while everything looks amazing on the surface, the companies actually doing the work are feeling the squeeze from all 3 of these problems at once. Let's zoom in on that funding problem for a second. The UK is, without a doubt, a world-class incubator. It's fantastic at birthing startups. But there's this missing piece, a gap in the funding needed to take a successful startup and turn it into a global giant. And that gap, it's the difference between having a really cool idea and building a company that literally changes the world. And then you've got the rules, or the lack of clear ones. In the UK, there's this move towards a security-first approach that's actually creating a lot of uncertainty. Businesses are left kind of guessing. Now, compare that to what's happening in the EU with their AI Act. It gives companies practical guidance, clear steps to follow, and that clarity is exactly what you need if you're going to invest millions and plan for the future. So where does that leave us? What's the path forward? Well, it's all about balance, isn't it? You have to take all this incredible optimism and energy in the sector and match it with a really smart, clear-eyed strategy for tackling these challenges. And trust me, that optimism is still absolutely there, even with all these hurdles we just talked about. A whopping 58% of these AI firms expect their revenue to grow by another 50% or more in the next year. That's how strong the belief is in what's possible. So I think that's really the bottom line here. If the UK is going to seize this incredible opportunity, it has to face these problems head on. Like Isabella Grandi says, it's not just about growth for growth's sake. The real prize is creating AI innovation that's responsible, inclusive, and commercially viable. And that leaves us with one final massive question. We know the evidence is overwhelming that the UK is a world-class place to start an AI company. But does it have what it takes to raise a champion, to build the entire ecosystem needed to grow one of these startups into a true global giant? That right there is the multi-billion-pound question.